Hi guys, Chef Wu Can here again, introducing another simple and easy recipe of one of your most popular dishes that you probably tried before. Tonight, we're going to make Mongolian beef. Yes, Mongolian beef. But there's going to be a little caveat here, where most restaurants, they deep fry the beef. I'm going to basically stir fry it so you won't get as much oil involved, and but you still get the essence of the flavor. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use flank steak. Now, flank steak is very tender, and I'll show you how to cut it and prepare it. And basically, it's the preferred type of beef. But if you don't have flank steak, or if you don't have access to flank steak, strip steak, or anything that's considered flavorful and tender. And then basically, the whole process involves the cutting up of the beef. All right, so let me just show you exactly how everything's prepared for the Mongolian beef. It's a very easy recipe. It doesn't require too many ingredients. All that's really required basically is the sugar, brown sugar, some soy sauce. I add a little Shaoxing wine, a little sesame oil, and then obviously a little white pepper. But you'll be able to choose exactly what flavors you want to add to it, and I'll give you the quantities and the measurements of each. Okay, so just bear with me. Okay, so we basically had bought a slab of flank steak, and we cut it in slices, and we cut it in strips. So basically, I would say 2 pieces of flank steak is good. And so this is how we'll cut it. Now you want the muscles going this way. And so what we want to do is cut it diagonally, at an angle, about 45 degrees angle, because the more surface area, the more it carries the flavor. Okay? So basically this has been defrosted. And remember, have the bare claw, have the knife facing away from your knuckles, and lean the cleaver against your knuckles. Now, if you're using a regular knife, and I know that most people don't have a regular cleaver, you're basically doing the same thing, and you're cutting it at an angle away. And you want to cut it as thin as possible because it's basically stir fry. You want to make it a quick fry, okay? So, we hold down the beef. We lean the cleaver against your knuckle. Your fingers are tucked inside. And basically, with one stroke at an angle, cut it. And you keep on doing this, small slices. The thinner the slices, the better. Okay, and this will make your flank steak very tender. Don't cut with the muscle grain, cut against it. Now I use a cleaver. Just to mix it up, I'll show you what a regular knife would be. And always, always remember to have a sharp knife when you cut it. A dull knife will cause slippage. You might cut your finger, despite all the precautions I told you about. All right. And we'll stick it in this little bowl here to this left. Now you see that this might be a little thicker. You may want nice long strips of beef, but if you don't, you can just cut it with the grain and then cut it in small pieces. Basically, Chinese food, as you guys know, when you went to the restaurants, everything is cut into morsels. It's easy to eat. And since if you use chopsticks, it makes it even easier. Now you may see a little fat here, and remember I always say that everything in moderation is okay. A little fat adds more flavor. Remember, cut them slice, uniform, so when you're cooking all the beef together, they'll all be done at the same time. You're not going to have one big thick piece that may require a little bit more timing. cook. And as you notice, the preparation time is the longest. The actual stir frying doesn't take long at all. Focus, concentrate, you're dealing with a sharp knife. I use flank steak. I feel it's more flavor. I may pay a little bit more, but I feel that my family's worth it. Later on in my videos, I'll be able to explain how you can use a cheaper cut of beef, like a top round, and marinating it in a different way. The restaurants usually use it, and that will make it even more tender, like filet mignon. Okay. Now, basically, we have the beef here. And so we want to add some flavor, and we want to make it even more tender so it's mouth-watering. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some cornstarch. And this is about, based on 3 strips of beef, 4 strips, I'd say 2 tablespoons. Like this. Then we'll add a dash of soy sauce. A dash. This is just for the marinating. A dash could be a teaspoon. Then we'll add a little Shaoxing wine. We'll say a teaspoon too. Now we have a little sesame oil, just to give it a little bit more distinct flavor. A nuttier flavor. A dash of that, a half a teaspoon. Then we have the dark soy sauce. Dark soy sauce is mainly for coloring. So when you cook beef, you want to give it some nice color. With Chinese food, it's not just the flavor and the taste, it's the presentation, right? So you want to give it a nice brown golden color. So we'll add a little bit of dark soy sauce, about a tablespoon. Then we'll add some white powder. White powder versus pepper, black pepper. White powder is a little bit more aromatic, and it has a very distinct flavor. So you want to enhance that beef flavor with a little bit of white pepper. A dash. So we have it all together. And we'll just marinate it, swish it with a spoon. Swish it with a spoon, make sure everything's all coated well. And we'll set it aside as we prepare the other items. Okay, it's nice and marinated. We'll set it aside, let it marinate. It's around 15 minutes. One of the essential parts of Mongolian beef is the scallion. Okay? And so we have 3 stalks of scallion. We'll cut off the ends. And then we'll cut them in like 2-inch segments. Obviously, we washed it. And we basically set it aside. Right? Now, we have the garlic. And the garlic, I don't have a garlic presser, but I find this is my own garlic presser, the cleaver. And so this is how I smash garlic. Hold the cleaver firm, flat, smash it. And then we'll cut it up. And we'll set it aside. Another major ingredient in Mongolian beef is ginger. Now, when you buy ginger, you buy the whole root, and it's quite a big piece, right? And so you're only going to use a small piece. And then usually you may put it in the refrigerator and not use it for a while, and then it dries out and it shrivels up, and then you got to throw it away. Well, basically, I took some Shaoxing wine, put it in a container, or if you have regular white wine, just use that. Cut up your ginger, put it in a container, and it will stay fresh for a very long period of time. So I took a piece out. You may say, well, will you get the flavor of the Shaoxing wine? Well, yes, you will, a little bit, because you're going to be adding Shaoxing wine to the dish anyway, or white wine to the dish anyway, right? So basically, we'll cut the ginger, but we'll skin it. Okay. And then we'll trim it. Okay, so what we're going to do here is trim off the excess skin. Now, we'll cut it in half. And we'll cut it in half again. So basically you're going to get nice slices. But be very careful. I'm not able to do the claw grip. It gets too close. But if you have a very sharp knife, you'll be able to cut very thin slices. And the thinner the slice you have on the ginger, the better you can eat it. And ginger has been very, very well in terms of medicinal value. It helps if you have an indigestion. Basically, it helps with all types of gastrointestinal problems. So it's always good to have fresh ginger. But if you don't, I don't know about the powder, the cooking powder that you might be able to get at a bakery or the bakery section of a store. I don't know about that, but I only know about fresh. I always try to use fresh. I think fresh is the best. In the only situations where you may use powders is if it's not available fresh and you need a substitute right away. But if you can, I always go fresh. Now, as far as garlic is concerned, those are fresh cloves of garlic, right? Garlic comes in many ways. You could buy the garlic in the clove, deshell it, depeel it. I bought garlic that's already been peeled. They do have a little packet of silica that absorbs any kind of moisture to preserve it. You can buy the bottles of the garlic in fresh water. That's already been ground up for you. It may not get the right taste, and I've tried it before. Because it's water, when you stick it in a wok, it's going to splatter. So, I mean, if you want to minimize splattering, I'd say go fresh. Better flavor, you can control it better, okay? All right. Now, we got the beef. It's been marinated. We got the scallion, right? Those are the two main ingredients. We got the ginger for the flavor, and we got the garlic and the ginger for flavoring, okay? We marinated the beef with a lot of sauces. The final sauce will be water, soy sauce, and brown sugar, okay? So just bear with me. I'm going to set up the wok. Okay, I just want to say something to you. I mean, I know that the only way that you guys would have Mongolian beef is through the restaurants or takeout, carry-out places. And they use a lot of sugar, and they use a lot of frying, and they use a lot of salt, okay? But really, in the traditional way of eating Chinese food, if you buy good product, you don't really need as much soy sauce or as much brown sugar that the Chinese takeout places use. It's just basically to enhance the flavor. So it brings out the flavor of a good cut of beef. And you know that you pay cheap price for beef, there's no flavor at all. But you pay a little bit more, like ribeye, you're getting lots of flavor, right? So they do it from a cost perspective. You know, they want to maximize profit. They buy a small cut of top round at $1.99 a pound, and they create Mongolian beef. They can sell it for $14.95. But we're doing it for the family, right? So the family has to eat good. And that's why I choose flank steak as my meat choice. All right, now we have the wok. I use a high carbon steel wok. It's a natural wok. It's a piece of carbon steel that's been banged out and molded. And this is basically used in China and most restaurants. And the more they use the high carbon steel wok, the more of a non-stick surface occurs. So every time you wash the wok, you don't use detergent so much. Every time you wash off the ingredients and you season it back with oil, you're creating a non-stick natural surface, which, you think about it, the non-stick pans that we have, it's all a coating, right? So if you're using a non-stick pan, I would say that keep that medium. Anything higher will wear down the coating. For me, I can use a wok as high as I want, but I'm using a butane stove and nothing will happen, all right? So the procedure is, the methodology here is get the wok hot first, right? Then add the oil. Wait until that gets hot. Whether you choose medium to high or high to medium, it's up to you. But the wok has to be made for heated up first. Your pan has to be heated up first at medium, right? All right, so what we're going to do here is heat up the wok. Now, as you can tell, the preparation was the longest. It's a little bit more time consuming, but the actual cooking of all the ingredients together is just combining it all together, and that should do it. Now, we added the cornstarch to the beef. Depending on how much cornstarch you added, that could be your own gravy, because cornstarch, other than it being a marinade, can also be your slurry solution. It will create a gravy. It will thicken up the sauce, all right? So I say 2 tablespoons. You may want to add a little bit more. That's really up to you. Through experimentation, you'll get a keen sense of exactly how much cornstarch you want to use. Instead of cornstarch, you may want to use flour, okay? It's the same thing. For the solution, the slurry solution, it's even portions of flour or cornstarch with water, and that will thicken up your sauce. Now, in the restaurant, they have a whole pan of the wok filled with oil. They take the marinated beef, they deep fry it really quickly so you get a little crust, then they take it out and they drain it. And that's what they use for the Mongolian beef. What I'm going to do is stir fry the beef, maybe leave it on one side to maybe get a nice little crust, and then just toss it on the other side to get it done, and that will be it. But it will be very tender and flavorful, okay? The wok's heating up. I can feel the heat, right? And this is how we'll do it. We'll add the oil. Remember, everything in moderation is okay. We'll add the ginger and the garlic. We'll lower the heat a little bit. You want to get that essence of the ginger and the garlic flavor. You don't want it that high. You don't want to burn the garlic or the ginger, right? You just want to make sure that it fuses with the oil. And the oil that I'm using is canola oil, which is very good for you. Don't use corn oil, nor vegetable oil, right? Peanut oil, you'll have to do a little research on. They say it has more flavor, but it may cost a little bit more. So we'll increase the heat a little bit more. Now, we'll add the beef. And we'll spread it out so we get each one side that's nice and brown. I won't increase the heat. Now, in terms of adding the soy sauce and the sugar, well, it really depends on what you like. I gave you initial measurements, but you may want to add a little bit more soy sauce after you taste it, or you may want to add a little bit more brown sugar. That's all up to you, okay? Now, we'll add some garlic powder on top of the fresh garlic. And we'll add some of the white pepper. We'll cook a little bit. And don't worry about it sticking, because basically when you add water, it will all dissolve and it will add more to the flavor. Now, it should not stick entirely, but, you know, it may stick a little bit. Alright, so we're going to, it hasn't stuck at all. So see, we got a little bit of the brown. That's a nice crust. So we'll saute it a little bit more. Don't worry about overcooking it, because with flank steak, it makes it even more tender. Alright, now, because it's like medium rare, if we add the soy sauce, the brown sugar, and the water, it will be perfect. Okay? So here's the soy sauce. The rest of the Shaoxing wine, the sesame oil, and the dark soy sauce. And we'll add the sugar, brown sugar. You could use white sugar if you like. That's really up to you. We'll mix it. Now we'll mix it a little bit before we add the water. You may like a lot of gravy. You may not want a lot of gravy. If you don't want that much gravy, don't add that much water. I may not add that much water. But it goes pretty well with the rice, the gravy. And I'm a sugar addict, so I always like things sweet, so that may just make things even worse for me, but once in a while it's okay. Now, I had added the dark soy sauce, so the color is very nice. I see the bits of ginger and the garlic. I'll add a little water. This will also dilute the potency of the soy sauce and the brown sugar. You don't want it so potent that you can't even eat it. Stir it up. I'll add a little bit more dark soy sauce. And everything in cooking, Chinese cooking, the vegetables are always last, unless you're making the vegetables as the only ingredient. But everything else in cooking, the vegetables are always last, because the vegetables cook fastest. It doesn't make any sense putting the vegetables in first, because by the time it's done, everything will be wilted. Okay? And we'll take a little taste of the sauce. We'll see if it's just correct. It's perfect. You may say this is well done, but you know what? It may be well done, but it's going to be very tender. That's what happens when you use flank steak and you tenderize it with this marinade. Marinade is garlic powder, white pepper, Shaoxing wine or white wine, soy sauce, and a tablespoon of cornstarch. Mix it together. Let it sit in the fridge or outside for like 15 minutes. Right? Make sure that all the meat's cut thin. Now, there's an equal balance between sweet and salty. And anytime you're cooking Chinese food, there's always that balance between salty and sweet. You have to have it both together. That creates the overall balance of the dish. Okay? All right, so we have a little gravy. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. Now we'll add the scallion. Saute. Here it goes. Flavor. Here's your Mongolian beef. Steaming, piping hot, delicious, flavor's perfect, color, presentation is wonderful. Then, add a little bit of brown rice. Dish. A pair of chopsticks. We'll get a little piece of the beef, a little piece of the scallion, another piece of beef, here it is. And this is the best part, my favorite. Scallion, perfect. And I have to apologize for talking while I'm eating, but you can't help it sometimes. Notice the small morsels of beef. The more surface area, the more places that the sauces will stick to. So the wider the surface area, the better. See? Add a little sauce to it. Whenever I make this dish, my wife and my daughter just gobble it up. They love it. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's simple and easy. All you really need is light soy sauce, brown sugar. You want to add black pepper, white pepper or black pepper, garlic powder, Shaoxing wine, a little dark soy sauce, scallion. The beef, I use tender beef in terms of flank steak. Obviously, I know that You know, with prices the way they're going right now, you could probably settle for a strip steak, or maybe even a nice chuck steak or ribeye, and cut it really thin. And you may want to refrigerate it before you cut it. That makes it easier to cut thin slices. But always remember a sharp knife, and basically let the beef marinate and the preparation, get everything together, and then just combine it together in the pan, whether it's a medium nonstick pan or a wok, and you have it. And you save $18. And it may not be as nutritious because they're deep frying the strips of beef. So this is a different way to save on the budget and to get more quality food into your family. All right. So if you have any questions, let me know. Obviously, subscribe to me if you want to know more about some more videos that I'm be coming up with, and obviously give me a thumbs up if you think it's meets your approval. And I always recommend Asian Cafe in Fallston off Bel Air Road, right next to Italian Sensation. He makes very, very good food, and I would like you to go there, talk to him. His name is Dan, and just tell him Chef Wu Can sent you, and he will custom make your orders according to what you want. And he's very friendly and very nice, and he always remembers. If you go with him frequently, he'll remember exactly what you want. So that's really rare these days, when everybody's considered a number. So he's always looking for new business, and I would encourage you to go there and just tell him Chef Wu Can recommended you. All right, so I hope you enjoyed. The next one will probably be, I'm taking a little break from Asian. Tomorrow I'll make carne asada with a tortilla, avocado, pico de gallo, and a little Mexican. So bear with me, and I hope I'm getting a little bit better. But I appreciate you watching me, and I would like you to come back in. All right, it's always the repeat customers that make business successful. And as you can imagine, I'm self-employed and considered small business. All right, and I should be going on live soon. I know there's a way that you can go live, so I will let you guys know about that ahead of time. But thank you for watching. And this is Chef Wu Can, and Chef Wu Can, you can too.